Welcome to episode 3 of the Playground Trails build, where we have built the most marvellous set of jumps, the most flowy roller coaster, best looking set of jumps I've ever built that I'm so excited to ride. I can't wait to ride. We've added a roller since the last video, since episode 2, and honestly there's as much dirt in this pump bump as I'd say there is in the first takeoff of that hip. There's so much material required to build these big wide rollers, and I love how wide it is. It matches the width of the previous landing. So you're going to land off this hip, which we need to measure in a minute to give you an understanding of how much speed there's going to be for the next feature. We've done some hardcore turf cutting through the clay, some proper landscape Fred Dibner stuff. It looks sublime. And then we've got a pump bump, which I think is a brilliant way of checking your speed again for another massive feature where we're going to drop in. Right, let's measure up, see what we're working with, and kind of get a rough idea of how big that next jump's going to be. Then inside gap. What are you looking at? Let's go in feet.
In feet? What's feet? 90, no, it's actually 98.
8'2"?
98.
Is that 8'2"?
Oh, it says there.
Ever use a tape measure?
No.
Oh, you're French, you only do metric.
Yeah, I can tell you in centimetres. It's 249 centimetres, 2.5 metres.
And the outside?
No.
Quite big. I guessed it'd be a whole another metre yesterday. Tell me the number.
Wow! 366
there we go.
Centimetres, not metres.
2.5 metres to the inside, 3.6 metres to the outside. So this argument about why hips are so important is displayed there. We've built one jump which offers two gaps of 2.5 and 3.6 metres. But given that the ground, I love the way all this works by the way, the rolling is just over there, pretty much in line with us. You drop in, pump, double pump, then you're going to get a massive load of speed going down that rock hard slope, running in for a takeoff, which will feel fast, will blast the hip, but then because the ground around here is so much higher, it's going to like sap all of that acceleration and probably reduce your momentum. So I think this massive pump bump will feel quite cruisy, and I'd say the next feature should probably match the inside. Yeah, let's go inside gap, if not smaller than that. Let's make this jump about 2 metres long so that if you have extra speed from landing outside, you just turn it into height. So let's get on in this episode and build an amazing jump here, because we're bombing down into that Jurassic Park straight, and I can't wait. But the problem isn't what we're going to build, it's not the team, it's not the time we've got, because this is actually today, Wednesday, I'm filming this. We've been digging for exactly 1 week since I got in that digger. That's mad. We've done all of this in 7 days, including the machine work. But like I say, the problem isn't time, it's actually how we're going to get the dirt here, because I love that dirt up there. We're getting further and further away from the dirt pile, but I've got a solution of how we're going to get it here, and here it is. I never thought we'd work with scaffolding again. After that horrendous rolling build at my compound, the leftover scaffolding has found its way here, because what we're going to build today, right now, is a dirt bridge. This valley, which I can't wait to use and build jumps in, is a bit of a nuisance, because it means I can't get this dirt any closer really with a machine. The dumper route to get round to there would be massive, and I don't want to drive machines in there until the ground's bone dry. So let's build a dirt bridge from here to there, all the way across that Death Valley, which as a solution is either going to pay dividends or our life insurance is going to pay out, because I doubt it's going to be that wide. You've only got a few scaffold boards, and the fall down there with a wheelbarrow above you will suck. So I'm going to be rock, paper, scissors in for the first lap of that, but it's going to make such a difference. All this epic primo dirt here, we can just bolt across there. So that's going to seriously increase our efficiency and heart rates, yeah, and blood pressure. Yeah, everything's going to ramp up, including the local fracture clinic attendee count. Doesn't make sense.
It does.
Yeah, let's build an epic dirt bridge. It'll be quite a build. I'm glad to be back on the scaffolding. That's the first build laps of today. Let's do this.
What's he doing?
I put a fuse on it. Look. We've built a dirt bridge, and I'm really proud of it. It's ever so rudimentary and sketchy. At some point I may even build a handrail for it. We're not complete lunatics, but it does the job. Look, it's 40 foot long. The longest scaffold tubes we've had were 21 foot. We've used 2 of them, slightly overlapped. So we built a 40 foot dirt bridge, and it doesn't half work. In the background we've stacked a takeoff, and all of that dirt has come across this dirt bridge. And it's pretty old school. I feel like I could have been part of one of those early explorers building the railway bridges in Colorado. You know, that's like real old school relic look. You can imagine some trains going across this, but instead we're just transporting heaven's primo dirt. And it's pretty epic. We used every bar. I put one in the ground down there to support it, which gets rid of all the sideways wobble, not all of it actually. Not all of it at all. But it's good, we're all keen on it. So this is gonna make us more efficient, quicker, and I'm super sold on it. And the sun's out too. And what more could you want when wheelbarrowing dirt? Ben behind the lens is actually topless right now.
Completely naked.
I've got my stuff. Look at these socks. It's the weather for shorts. It's my first day digging in shorts.
Wow.
A lot of people have seen these. See that? Can you hear that plane? Oh, it's not got it now. It flew over earlier really low and came back with one of those flags that said nice socks, Matt, towing it. So a lot of people have taken interest. Come and look at this. Look back there. How cool is that?
It's insane.
The dirt pile is shrinking, by the way. What I guessed was 120 tons and still believe is dwindling, and that's all been moved by hand, and I love that because it makes this place look like this. Clean, tidy, effective. And what we're gonna have now, I mean, this takeoff is insane because it just drops away. It goes off the edge of a cliff. This is the first takeoff that I want to name in the series. Whoever names this will have named the beginning of the entire theme for this line. By the way, I think looking down there, that looks a lot like a fairway. So I thought about calling this like the tee, the first hole, but actually that could be lame. So come up with whatever you want. If it's golf, cool, but I don't know anything about golf, so I won't even be able to vet or validate your names. If someone's like, call it the McElroy molehill, I'll be pretty, I know who he is, but anyone else outside of the Fortune 500 golf team, I won't know. That's not a thing, is it?
McElroy molehill.
Isn't that blind? It's so blind. And I think we're going to finish that shortly in a build lap, so you'll get to watch all of that. All the wheelbarrows, all the shaping. It was like building a really cool clay mould, that coming out the ground in fast forward. So we need to turf cut this. I like the way it's going to taper in. There was no point in this takeoff being as wide as that roller. There's so much dirt across the dirt bridge. I don't even know if our engineering would take it. But the landing, this is the interesting point. We're almost at the highest point of the entire line. I'd say that there is almost exactly the same height as the roll-in. And I didn't want to make it any taller, because then throughout this whole course to get to this point, you'd be working hard to get higher than you started. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I think there's a lot to be said for gravity. I think as humans we've done quite well out of gravity, and I want to work with it too, not against it. So I'm going to stop with that height of the takeoff. When we've turf cut the grass out, it will look bigger. And that means the landing, I want to make it a step down, make it even more blind. Imagine you coming into that takeoff and the landing sits about here. I don't know. Let's finish the takeoff and see how it looks. So we're going into another build laps now. I'm glad the bridge survived the explosion, so we can carry on using it to finish this. Let's go, build laps 2. That and the sun and the weather and the vibe has brought this entire hilltop to life. I think we've made the perfect set of jumps for the top of this little grass summit. That hip I love, the roller I love, but that is my pride and joy for this build series so far. It needs a good name. It's so shiny, it's so chunky, and it kind of forms this elevated whale tail section, doesn't it? Jump in, pump, jump out, all up high. And we all know what happened last time Ben rode a small whale tail in lockdown. But this one's a bit more hefty and should bring the entire place to life. So I've always wanted to build one of these, and now the lip's finished, there's no question that this is what we're gonna do. I want it to be a step down with a proper takeoff. I've ridden loads of step downs with little kind of gradual lips, ones that are maybe this tall, you know, for backflips and things to learn tricks for slopestyle comps. But I've never built and ridden a step down with a proper takeoff and a lower landing. So a step down means the landing is lower than the lip. I'd say it could be about here. The scale of this landing is going to be a feat and just a spectacle to behold and a feat to build. I think, annoyingly, I should have built the kicker a bit further this way, because to have the landing start here and be steep, we're going to have to go underground. If the takeoff was here, we could have built the whole landing on top of the ground. So we're going to have to be doing more turfing, probably some proper pickaxing. Yeah, that's tough old clay. But I've always wanted to build one of these, a step down into a steep landing that you can pull right back on if you land on the hip on the outside. And if you land on the inside and you've got less speed, you can just push through it and stay low. And then we're bombing down the fairway. Just think how big that next jump's going to be. And it's only really from side on that you can see how big this landing's going to be. You're going to tower above it. The whole takeoff and feature's going to be blind. So in the next video, we're going to build that landing for the mega step down, which will have a name. But I'm also going to bring my bike to the playground. This thing has been working wonders. The Recover Pro massage gun. So my bone is knitting, it's getting stronger and things, but all the muscles around it from digging are obviously in agony. Jamie uses this a lot too on his back, but I've been holding my arm in such a weird way digging that I've had to loosen up my triceps, my back. So I think this thing's been a super big help to keep me recovering, and also to mean I can bring my bike to the playground to ride this. I can't build that landing until I've ridden this hip. We've stood up here loads, haven't we, Ben? And Jamie, while we're digging, we occasionally stand back and we can't suss out how fast you're going to be going. Because that is a death-looking feature. You can't see anything behind it other than a 20-foot drop. But I'm worried we're not even going to make it up it. But oh well. It's a hot sunny day. We've got water too. You might have seen in the build laps in the background, we've got a 1,000-litre IBC that I got from my mate George. Thank you, George. He works on golf courses. He might be able to contribute some names of golf players. But we've been filling it with 25-litre drums that I fill up from the hose at home and bring here 2 a day, 50 litres a day. So it's going to take 20 days to fill it, but we're using it. So it's going to be like a month to fill the thing. But I think if we get some wet weeks and months, this could be some of you guys will have a better idea of how to do this, but we could either do some guttering on that barn to collect water, or maybe like a tarp system to collect rainwater, because this is not going to be enough. But you can see how much it gets soaked up and how dry and sandy this dirt is. Watch, that like disappears fast. So before a nice set, oh, that takes me back to just epic trail sessions. So yeah, we've done it. I feel like now, with a roll-in, berms, a hip, a roller and a step down, we've got a set of trails, a set of working trails that I just want to ride. I think I now can. So come back soon. Episode 4 is going to be out in a few days, and I'm bringing a bike to the playground. Let's go, legends.
What's he doing?
I put a fuse on it. Look. Oh, I said fuse wrong. Hang on.